Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought we'd make a fun girlfriend's best friend card. And we're going to be using some stamps from Art Impressions, and I'm going to be combining a few different sets to do this card. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first set I want to show you here is the Girlfriends. These are the clear stamps from Art Impressions, and you get a few cute sentiments to go with this as well. This is called the Picture Perfect stamp set. And then from this next one here, we're going to use that banner that says Best Friends. And this is also from the Girlfriends collection. And then this last one is from the Circlet stamp set. And this is another clear stamp set, which also comes with some coordinating dies. And you see you get 3 different stamps here. And that's to build like a 3-dimensional card, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to use those images separately. So I've got a standard A2 size top folding note card, and this is cut from the Bristol Smooth Strathmore 100-pound cardstock. And I will list all the supplies for all these products down below and also on my blog. And so from this set here, I'm going to grab that banner that says Best Friends. And then from this set, we're going to grab those ladies, which I just love. I think they're so much fun and so many things you can do with these little ladies here. So I'm going to just try to position these here on my Misty Stamp Positioner, just lining everything up. Then I'm going to close the door and pick up those stamps. Now I'm going to be inking up the stamps today with Diversifying Onyx Black ink. This is a permanent black ink. And I'm going to go ahead and do that stamping. Now if you're making multiples of cards, you can just have this set up and ready to go. Just have all your cards cut and ready to go. So now with this Circlet stamp set, I'm going to just be using a couple of those stamps. I'm going to be using the one there with the little vase of flowers, and then the other one with the little piece of cake and the teacup. And if you'd like to see what else I did with these stamps here, you could go to my blog and look for the Art Impressions Tropical Circlet Acetate card. And I did a really fun 3-dimensional card which you can check out. And the reason I've placed them in the Misty is if you do need to do a double stamping, you can go ahead and do that and everything will be lined up perfectly. So just to keep this card closed, because I am trying to keep this card fairly flat here while I do my coloring, I'm just putting a little bit of the Tombow glue tape inside. Now using Flesh Color and light pink, I'm going to start doing my coloring here. And these are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. And I know I use these a lot. I love these pens. They blend so easily. So you can also use a water brush here, but I'm using the Zig Blender pen. So I'm just pulling that color in from the edges, that flesh color, in towards the center of their faces. And I'm doing all the faces the exact same way. Now again, you could use a water brush here, whatever you prefer here. Now with light gray, turquoise green, and light blue, I'm going to color in the blouse on this first lady here. Now I'm putting the light blue all over, and then I'm going to bring in that turquoise color, just kind of where those shadows on her outfit would be. And then I'm going to pull that color in towards the lighter areas here. I want to keep that side of her arm the lightest and sort of a little bit down the side here. Now again, as you change colors when you use these pens, you do want to clean them off, and you'll know they're clean when they go clear on your scrap paper. And if you get a little too much ink like I did there, you can see that I can just pull it off and scribble it onto my scrap paper. And you can keep removing ink till you get that just the exact amount that you want. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of that light gray around the collar here, just for a little shadow. And later on, we'll be adding a few little polka dots to that little ruffle on her blouse as well, just for a little added dimension. So while I have the light blue and the turquoise out, I'm going to go ahead and just show you that that's how I did the banner up at the top. A little bit of that darker color up towards the top, and then I'm pulling it down towards the bottom. Now with that light pink, I'm going to do the blouse on this second lady here. And I'm only going to use one color here. And if you're only using one color, what you can do is lay down that first layer, and then you can go back and add a little bit more depth by just adding more of that color. So you can see there at the top of her shoulders, I scribbled in a little bit more color than I did on the sides. So that's another way of getting that shadowing without using two different colors. And again, I'm just going to blend that into the lighter area in the middle here. So there you see I added a little bit more of that same color to get a little bit more of a shadow here. Now with the pink, I'm going to go ahead and do this, the earrings and the bracelet on this little lady here. And I'm just putting a little bit of color right at the edges of the bracelet there and then pulling it down to keep that lower area the lightest. And the same thing on the earrings. And then while I have that color out, I'm going to do a few little areas on their lips as well. And I did a bunch of these cards, and at first I was coloring in that lady's teeth there by accident, so I had to go back and clean those off. But so be careful where you're coloring. Now with light gray and blue gray, I'm going to color in her outfit. So I'm using the gray on her blouse, and then I'll be using the blue gray on her jacket and pants. So yeah, I had to go back and fix the little teeth on that lady all the way in the back. But it worked out fine. I just used my blender pen. I should have maybe shown you on camera, but all I did was use my blender pen and I picked the color up, the pink color that I had put on her teeth. I picked it up with the blender pen and removed it on scrap paper until it was gone. You could also use water as well, a little bit of water on a brush and then just blot it off. So there are lots of mistakes we can fix, and it really was fine afterwards. And again, that's why I set these up in my Misty stamp positioner, because I did want to do a lot of these cards. So I just lined them all up. I had all my cards ready to go, and then I just stamped a whole bunch of them at once. And then I can just relax and do my coloring. And on this little lady here, I don't need to color the whole outfit because I'm going to have them standing behind the table there, behind like a little party table. So, and with this other lady as well, I'm just going to color partway down with the beige color. And as it turned out, I really didn't need to do the pants at all. I don't think they ended up showing. So if you are going to make multiples, just go ahead and get everything lined up and have it ready to go. And then what's really nice is then I love to sit and color. So then once I have them all stamped, I get a clipboard, I get my markers, which I've already determined the colors, and I just sit with my clipboard and I can color. And I love to do that. I'd love to bring them with me if I have to go somewhere or wait for an appointment or anything like that. So it's kind of a fun way to get you started too, you know, get you working on something creative. And then I'm going to go back to that pink for the banner. You can see I did every other color in turquoise and pink. And now for this lady's hair, I'm going to use the brown, which has a bit of a reddish tone to it. This brown is really pretty. It goes to a little bit of a reddish brown. So I thought that was perfect for her hair. And then with yellow and dark oatmeal, I'm going to do this little lady's hair in the front here. And I'm just putting the yellow just part way up, then the brown right around the hairline. And then I'm just going to pull those two colors together to keep the top part the lightest. And on the hair for this little lady, I used a circular motion just to make it look a little bit more like curls. On that other lady with the brown hair, I just did a straight line from top to bottom to make her hair look straight. Now for this lady here, I used yellow and oatmeal. So it's going to be a little bit lighter shade. I'm just toning down that yellow a little bit. And I'm just going to, again, use that circular motion. And then for this last little lady, I'm going to use the dark brown. And I'm really just putting a little bit of it down at the bottom here because I don't want it to be too dark. And that's all it took. And then I'm just going to blend that all the way up to the top. And even with that, I did need to clean off some of that color. I did not want it to get too dark up at the top area. So I cleaned off a little bit of color, scribbled it on my scrap paper. And then for the phone, I'm just using a little light gray just to add a little bit of shadow to that phone. And a little bit of black right inside where the camera is there. And I do have a little collection of these girlfriends. I think they're fun. They're fun to kind of combine all these stamps together. And I love the sentiments, and I'll show you those again in a little while. Now, I'm not going to show you all the colors I used here, but I will list all the marker colors I used down below. And what I usually like to do is just pick a dozen or so markers for the whole project. And I try to stay within those colors so that there's some uniformity or continuity to the colors that I choose. I don't like to add too many other colors once I've decided what the colors are. So you'll see that way everything kind of looks like it goes together. But you can certainly select any colors you like. And here with the light gray, I'm just adding a few little shadows in there. And again, these two stamps come from that Circlet stamp set, which is a really adorable set. I have a few of these sets, and what you do is you stack them up and you do a trifold card, and you can see all the way through the card. It creates a scene, one layer, then you flip it open and you see the second layer and then the third layer. And the dies cut out those intricate pieces so that you can see through the card. So it's really fun. They're really fun to make. But today I thought I'd just do it this way just to show you that you can use your stamps in many different ways. So always take a look at them and see what you have, and then try to use them a little bit differently if you can. And that way you can do a lot more with the stamps you own. So just kind of pull them out, take a look at them, and see how they work together. Now, I tend to keep companies together this way, but you don't have to. You can mix and match all your different stamp companies together. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to cut this out, and I'm leaving a little bit of a white border all the way around. That just makes it easier to cut this out. And I was able to kind of get rid of that little line that it looks like they're sitting on the table there. Just kind of cut right up to that. And it still will leave that little white border. So I did this for both of these pieces here. And I'm just adding a little shadow there behind that teapot. And I'm going to do the same thing for this other one, and I went ahead and colored that one in off camera. Now with a 4 1/4 by 1 1/2 piece of Bristol smooth cardstock and my picked raspberry Distress Oxide ink, I'm just going to ink up this entire panel. And this is going to create the little table for those items to sit on. And I'm adding a little bit more color at the top of the table just for a little bit of a shadow. And then I'm going to heat set this. Now with that Tombow mini glue tape, I'm going to tape this to my glass media mat just to hold it in place. And I do want to line it up with the grids on my mat. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Ideology acrylic ruler and a white Jelly Roll gel pen to just color in like a plaid pattern on my tablecloth. So I'm just going every 1/4 of an inch, and I'm using the grids on my mat to line up the ruler. And you can also use the grids on this ruler as well. There's grids all the way down the front panel of the ruler, which makes it really easy to use. So if you line up that 1/4 inch grid with the ruler, it will also work the same way. Now I'm going to go in the opposite directions, again trying to create a little bit of a plaid here. So now that that's all set, I'm just going to clean off that glue, and I just wanted to show you, all you have to do is spritz it with a little bit of water from your distress sprayer and just wipe it with a paper towel and it comes right up. Now with my 1-inch Scotch foam mounting tape, I'm going to apply a good amount of mounting tape right behind this panel. And then I want to keep that darker edge up towards the top. And that's a little bit hard to see on camera, but in person it's a little bit more noticeable. And now I'm going to add my little flowers and my little teapot. And I'm just trying to arrange those here a little bit. And then for this one here, I'm going to add a little bit of foam mounting tape up towards the top, and then some Gina K Connect glue down at the bottom. And this will just let it lay flush with the card here. And then for this other one, I'm just going to add glue to the entire back of it and glue that down. Not enough of it is sticking up over the top to worry about there. Now I did put that tape on the inside of the card before, that tombow glue tape, and I'm removing it with my ThermoWeb adhesive pickup square. And again, I will list that at the bottom. Now with black soot and hickory smoke, these are my Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to start with that lighter gray color, and I'm just going to blend a little bit of a shadow here. I'm coming in maybe about 1 inch, and just with a very light hand here, I'm just adding a little bit of that light gray shadow. I just wanted to take away a little bit of that white and bring the focus in towards these ladies. And then with the black soot, I'm just going to come in not even as far, just pretty much around the edges, maybe about I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, a little bit more on the corners, and then I'm going to really highlight the edges by just brushing that applicator tool right up along those edges. And again, adding a little bit down on the corners of the tablecloth there, just to add a little bit of a shadow and frame the card. But I didn't think that was enough, so I'm going to take my Pitt Artist pen. This is the black one, and this is the 0.1 millimeter. And I'm going to add a few little tassels here to my banner. And so I'm just drawing a couple little squiggly lines here. You could also draw a little bow there. And then what I wanted to do was add some stitching all the way around. And I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do. I just do it freehand. You can certainly use a ruler if you prefer. But I like the freehand. I think it makes it look a little bit more homemade. And then once I'm done, I add a couple little hash marks here and there. Again, just to add a little bit more of that handmade effect. And you can see that there up close. Now I decided to add a little bit of stitching across the top of each of those little banners as well. I do think the details are what make some of these cards really come to life. So spend a little bit of time on the details. And here again, I'm going to add a little bit of that white Jelly Roll pen and add my highlights all over this card. Anywhere I think it might kind of catch the light on their little outfits, their jewelry, and I'll even do the banners up at the top. So this again adds a little bit more interest to the card. And here's where I decided to add a few little polka dots to that ruffle on this little lady's blouse here. And then I'm adding that highlight to the banners up at the top. And with my Nuvo glitter pen, I'm going to add a little sparkle just here and there. And if you're changing colors with this pen, because we did use water-based inks to color this in, you do want to scribble it on some scrap paper because you don't want to transfer that color to the next image. Now you've got these fantastic little sentiments, and we're going to use that one at the top. And so that one says, "We may not have it all together, but together we have it all." I kind of think that's appropriate for what's going on right now. We definitely need our friends and our family to keep us all going here. So with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And again, I've placed it in the MISTI just in case I need to stamp it again. And I actually did. I didn't show that on camera, but I double stamped that to get a nice black image. And I'll give you a closer look at the card here. You can see some of the highlights and all that stitching we have. And I just think these little ladies are just so much fun. And again, you could use these in several different ways. And you can see that little white border we left when we trimmed out all of those little pieces. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.